Hello, good afternoon, Shoreline Elementary staff. Thank you for coming to our staff meeting today. We're going to start off the staff meeting by sharing any good news. I'll go first. My son was really wanting to get into a middle school, and we just received news that he will be getting to the school that he really wanted to. And my daughter has a dance competition that she's really excited for, and her costume came in. So she's very excited. We're all very excited for her. Okay, we are going to continue with first discussing our vision and mission statement, and then we will review our math, reading, and science achievement scores. We will review our SIP improvement goals. We will then look at some Title I budget options, and I will give you my recommendation, and then at the end of the meeting you will have the opportunity to choose one of the options. I will give you my recommendation, but you have the opportunity to vote through Google Docs. I've created a form for you. You will just choose option 1, option 2. It'll be very quick and easy, and you will have the opportunity to provide your input so that we will make these choices all together. Right? Our vision for our school is that Shoreline Elementary School is a learning community that promotes social and ethical development to maximize student success in a warm and structured academic environment. Our mission is to provide a high quality, comprehensive, and meaningful education for all students. Each student will be expected to succeed within the bounds of their abilities and chosen educational goals. Each student will be treated as an individual, given the tools to be a 21st century lifelong learner, and taught to function as a member of a group and as a productive member of society. All right, now here we are going to be looking at our reading achievement scores for the past 3 years. I would like you to take a moment and just look at this graph, see if you notice any trends. The light blue line is for the year 2019, the dark blue line is for the year 2021, and the tealish colored line is for the year 2022. So as you can notice, pre-COVID, our scores were a little bit higher, then they dropped during COVID, and now they're slowly creeping back up after COVID. Almost consistently, with an exception for our students with disabilities. If you look and specifically at the year 2022, the first group of bar graph is actually all students. So that is an average of all of our students in this school. The second group of bar graphs is for our white students. And if you notice, those scores seem to be higher than any other subgroup. Next to it, we have our African Americans, and they are about 10% lower than our white students and slightly lower than the average. If you look at our Hispanic group, they are significantly lower than the white subgroup and from the average of all the students in the school. EDS stands for economically disadvantaged students, and they are a little bit higher, but not as much. They're still about 10% lower than our white students, and our students with disabilities are the ones suffering most in reading achievement scores. Here we have our math achievement for the last 3 years, and again following the same format as our reading scores. It starts off with all of our students, then the separate subgroups. We have the white students immediately following, our African Americans immediately following that, Hispanic, economically disadvantaged, and students with disabilities. Do you notice any trends here? Do you notice anything surprising? What I notice here is that although we did increase our scores from year 2021 to year 2022, we are nowhere near the scores we were at pre-COVID. pre-pandemic, and math has definitely fallen a lot harder than reading, and our students in this school are struggling the most with math, and it seems as the African American, Hispanic, economically disadvantaged students are suffering the most when compared to their white peers and the average. Of course, these students' scores, since they are so low, bring down the average, but when you compare them to the white students, they seem to be at more of a disadvantage and are not scoring as high as their white peers. This is something that we need to take a look at further and see what we can do to help out these students. Here we have showing our science achievement for the last 3 years. Again, I noticed similar trends as the last two achievement score slides, but this one is a little bit more drastic in science. Again, we have all of our students first, then we are showing our white students, our African American students, and Hispanic students, economically disadvantaged students, and our students with disabilities. If you notice, the most shocking data on this slide is our African American students. They started off, although lower than our white peers, they started off at about a 60% proficient achievement, and then dropped all the way down to about 10-15%. That is quite a drop during pandemic, and then last year they rose again to almost about 35%, but that is less than half of their white peers. The Hispanic students at our school did a little bit better than that, and the economically disadvantaged students also did better than that, matching almost our students with disabilities. So here we see some very different data. Again, the suffering group of students here is our African American students. Here we have our 2022-2023 school improvement goals. For goal number 1, it says all students will increase proficiency on EOG assessments and/or will meet or exceed individual growth annually in math and reading diagnostics. And listed below, we have determined for each subgroup the percentages that they are currently at and where we hope they will be in 2 years. For goal number 2, we want to increase parent involvement and community partnership in our school. For goal number 3, our school would like to increase our school climate to 75% on the Panorama survey. Hello. Okay, so this is the good part. This is where we get to talk about our budget options. We have budget option 1 and budget option 2, and I'm going to review the differences between option 1 and option 2 with you. The first item under positions in budget 1 is a teacher assistant position. And while we have kindergarten assistants in each kindergarten class, this teacher assistant will fill a floater type position among the first grade classes. And the reasoning for this is because this teacher will provide support during small group reading and small group math to provide more direct instruction with the children so they have more one-on-one attention between their teacher and the teacher assistant position. This will be a floating position, and the person will go between our first grade classrooms and provide instructional support in reading and in math. The second position we have is a parent involvement coordinator, and this person will be in our building every day doing their job as a parent involvement coordinator. And that is to help us directly align with our SIP goal of increasing parent involvement in our school. And together, the total for the positions is $88,511.81. The next column you'll see in option 1 is extended employment. This includes daytime tutors and after-school tutors, staff professional development instructor. We need to pay the instructor, and also additional responsibilities. Now, the daytime tutors and the after-school tutors, those tutors are going to be supporting second grade if needed, and if possible, we will stretch it along to also first grade. First grade will be sharing that teacher assistant, but these tutors will be providing mostly support to second grade. And the reasoning behind this is because we want to increase our proficiency. However, the county does cover after-school tutoring for grades 3 to 5. So we really need some support in grades K2. So along with second grade, we will have support also in kindergarten with these tutors. And these tutors are going to support our bubble kids. They're going to be getting our kids who are not proficient to proficient, helping our staff and our teachers get those children more proficient. Then the professional development we will hold is to align with that. We will have a professional development session for phonics instruction this year. So the staff will have a PD, and the instructor, we need to pay for the instructor. Additional responsibilities under this column is in regards to, for example, we have a custodian who's about to take leave until the end of the year and then retire. So we will have a lapse in coverage, and this will allow monies to pay for things such as that. It will also pay for the transportation issues we've been having with our new influx of EC children. As you know, we have EC children that we must pick up from different schools, and they cannot ride transportation, the school bus, to school. So we have teachers driving back and forth picking up these children, and this can help alleviate those costs or provide us with different options for those students. And that column comes to a total of $16,071.69. The next column in supplies, we have printing and binding. That's going to be covering our parent handbooks, student handbooks, and staff handbooks. Field trips, that's going to be covering the cost of the field trip to the Science Museum that the teachers this year decided not to take because the cost of the field trip would be $25 per student, and that is just too much to ask for the students in K2 to pay for. So this will cover that cost. Second, we have Eureka kits. We are going to be purchasing new math curriculum, Eureka, and these are the kits to go with them. And last on this list is library books. We need to get our library updated, put some books in our library that represent our children, that the children can connect to, instead of some of our very old books that we have. So we can do a swap out with this money. And for supplies, there we have $15,153.30. Our last column, parent-family engagement. This column consists of parent PD instructor stipend, a parent stipend, postage to send out flyers, and food costs. So food is extremely important. This is how we're going to bring in our parents. This is how we're going to have a good turnout when we offer food for our parents to come in and help volunteer or to attend an event that we're holding, such as reading night. This will bring in more parents for us. Postage will be just postage for the flyers, for anything that we need to send out regarding these parent events. And then the parent instructor, professional development instructor stipend. This is so that we can provide professional development for parents. For example, we had a few parents request some SEL training, so we can now afford to get them the SEL training and then also provide them a stipend for attending that training. And again, if we provide food, we will be able to cover the stipend and cover the food, bring in those parents with the temptation of food, and then also the temptation of a stipend. So altogether, option 1 comes to a total of $125,000. Option 2, as you'll notice, is very similar to option 1 in that it has a lot of the same things, but if you see an asterisk next to the type of position, for example, it says substitute pay for PD in the positions column for option 2, that's because that is not an available option in option 1. And if you look back at option 1, teacher assistant has an asterisk next to it, and that is because it is only in option 1. So back to option 2. We have no teacher assistant, but we have a parent involvement coordinator, as I mentioned above. That will be a person in our building trying to coordinate families and the community and with our school. And then what is different in this one is we also have substitute pay for professional development and annual incentives. So substitute pay for professional development means we can hold the professional development during the school day and offer a stipend for you teachers who would like to take this professional development or that need to take the professional development that we will be offering. Annual incentives, that is to either retain or promote our school and look for those highly qualified teachers and bring them into our school. So instead of having a high retention rate, we can actually bring in highly qualified teachers, which is actually part of how we can raise our school's proficiency and meet growth a little bit faster with more highly qualified teachers. So if a teacher is trying to decide whether to join our school or another school, these incentives might actually help bring them to our school. All right, so that comes to a total of $73,092.37. The second column is extended employment. Again, we have daytime tutors and after-school tutors, and if you notice, there is an asterisk next to daytime tutors, and that's because in this option, we have more flexibility and more money into that, so that means we can have more tutors or a longer time with the tutors to support our K2 students. Staff professional development, staff professional development instructor that we need to pay, and additional responsibilities are all the same as option 1. The last one, staff stipend PD, you will be able to receive a stipend for that and for the professional development. And let me go back to the first one in column 1 under positions. It says substitute pay for PD. That actually meant there will be a substitute to cover your class for the time you're on professional development, not a stipend. So coming back to extended employment column, so this is where the stipend will be. The previous column will be where the substitute is. Now, in option 2 under supplies, the first thing you'll notice is Eureka Math Coaching. As I mentioned earlier, we'll be receiving a new math curriculum and we will be receiving kits, but now also in this option, we will also be receiving coaching on these kits, on this curriculum. Printing and binding, as you noticed, that's also increased. Field trips. So this is the same as option 1. Membership and fees. This is for the staff that had asked for RAS kits and also Brain Pop. We were not able to buy it at the beginning of this year, but with this money, we will now be able to provide those memberships for you. Eureka kits, the same as option 1. Library books, there is a little bit more money here for library books, and this is very important. The students need to see themselves in this library that we have, and so the more books we can bring in that represent all of our students, the better it is. Computer software, last but not least, some staff has asked for specific software. One example is Adobe. And so with this money, we will be able to provide software for staff who have specifically asked for it. Last but not least is the parent-family engagement column, and this is identical to option 1, where we have the professional development for parents, an instructor, a stipend, postage to send out flyers, and parent food. So again, let me just note that the food part is important. It is an incentive to bring them in. So hopefully this will be able to improve that SIP goal of increasing parent engagement. And that will be through the parent involvement coordinator, the events we will hold at the school, the professional development we will be offering, plus the stipend, plus the food. And for our proficiency improvement goal, this is why we have suggested to bring in the daytime tutors and the after school tutors, and the coaching in the new math curriculum, and the professional development for phonics instruction. And also for the school climate improvement goal, as you see here, we're going to have more books in the library. I believe this will make children happier when they see new, fresh books that they relate to. They really get excited. That can help. And also, field trips will increase the energy of the students and the happiness of the students. And with all of these new supports, hopefully the climate amongst the staff will also increase. Okay, so my recommendation is to recommend budget option number 2. It is also in the amount of $125,000. The reason for this choice is because it includes many more things that will help the academic achievement of our students. The case of Leandro versus the state of North Carolina affirms every child's state constitutional right to a sound basic education beginning in early childhood. And since 2018, parties to the Leandro case have developed a comprehensive 8-year remedial plan identifying targeted investments in public education that North Carolina must make in order to ensure all children have access to a sound basic education. Some of those aspects include highly qualified teachers and leaders. And so with this budget option, you will notice that we have incentive to attract those highly qualified teachers. We have professional development to increase the efficiency of our teachers and make them highly qualified teachers and leaders. And to provide incentives to them, there are stipends. We have Eureka Math coaching to also make our teachers more highly qualified, and the materials and the kits to go along with that research-based curriculum. And that's all tied to the students' academic achievement. Another aspect of the case is that it said the system should be in place in our schools to ensure that students don't have beginning teachers 2 years in a row. Again, with our staff professional development, with our incentives for highly qualified teachers to join our school, we can ensure that this won't happen. We also need to have systems in place for making sure our school has current resources. And again, with purchasing the Eureka curriculum and the math kits, we will be able to check that box. Also, the library books that we intend to purchase. In this option, there's an increased amount of library books that we can purchase. We will be able to make sure that that is happening. Curriculum that is grade level, engaging, and affirming will be also made sure to be happening, because again, we're going to have the Eureka math system, and we're going to have tutors helping our students and our staff trained in phonics core instruction. And again, part of the tutoring is one of the aspects of developing a comprehensive remedial plan. Another thing part of a comprehensive remedial plan is to have differentiation, and again, our tutors and our phonics instruction will be able to be a part of that plan. And one more thing, family resources. We have in our plan in this option options for family resources where they are going to be receiving professional development, a stipend, and just more accessibility to our school. All of these things tie back into academic achievement, where the teachers will be trained in math and reading, which will be able to increase their qualifications and increase their ability to teach children effectively, and which in turn will increase their academic achievement. So every factor in this budget is directly tied back to student achievement, including printing and binding. If we have parent handbooks, student handbooks, these are all necessary resources for our school, including field trips, including memberships and fees. For example, RAS Kids, it's a program that the students can use at school and at home. Brain Pop is the same thing. So with my recommendation, I do recommend option 2 for $125,000. Additionally, budget number 2, or option number 2, is most aligned with our school improvement plan goals. For example, our 3 goals are increasing proficiency in math and reading, increase parent involvement, and increase school climate. So for goal 1, increasing proficiency in math and reading, we will accomplish that with budget number 2, option 2, because we will provide substitutes for Eureka professional development. We will receive the kits to match the curriculum that we're going to be using, the Eureka, and we will also obtain more after-school tutors, more daytime tutors, and this will help increase our proficiency. For goal number 2, option 2 is most aligned with this one because we will have a parent involvement coordinator, and that position will be full-time at the school every day, working hard to get the parents in the building. We will provide the parents with food for special opportunities and provide them with professional development, and pay the instructor also to lead that professional development for the parents. For goal number 3, increase school climate, option number 2 most aligns with this goal because of the library books being increased. There's a larger budget for that. We will have teacher incentives, monetary incentives. That's a big one, especially in this time where there's a big teacher shortage. And then we'll provide teachers also with a stipend for this professional development. And then we will provide extended employment, and also our field trips. We will have a larger pool of options, and we will also be able to help the students who aren't able to pay for the field trips to help them go on the field trips. All right, staff, this is where you get to put in your input towards our school's mid-year budget plan. Please vote on the budget you determine best aligns with our school improvement plan goals and will best support our progress towards student achievement. I will leave this link open for 48 hours. I would like to make a decision quickly. I have given you my recommendation of option number 2, and now it is up to you and your turn to go through the options that I have provided and see which one you believe best fits our school and our needs. So if you so wish, please either choose option 1 or option 2 using this link. I have already emailed you all the slides, and you can just click on the link here where it says click here to submit your choice. You just click on it, it will take you right to the Google form, and in 48 hours I will deactivate the link and then collect all the responses. And the response, either option 1 or option 2, whichever one we have with the most votes, we will go ahead and select that option, and then I will meet with you all again to inform you of our school's decision. Thank you for coming. I hope you all have a wonderful day.